Some tough reish peiches. Din krachim hamukofim choyma mimes Yeshua bin Nun. Sevala. Krachim hamukofim choyma mimes Yeshua bin Nun. Afilu einon mukofin achshav kohen betesva. Cities that had a wall around them at the time of Yeshua, when the Bnei Yisrael came into Eretz Yisrael, Eretz Canaan at the time. Even if it hasn't got a wall nowadays, they read on the 15th. Afilu mehem v'chutz la'aretz, even if they're outside Eretz Yisrael. Afilu ein bohem asora batlone, even if they haven't got 10 people sitting in land. They don't learn, they don't work, and they look after the needs of the tzibur. On page 303 in the Shulchan Aruch. This is only if the wall was built and then afterwards it was settled. Or the city was settled in with the intention of building a wall around it afterwards. If they built the city without the intention of building a wall around it, and then afterwards they changed their mind to build a wall around it, then it doesn't count. If you don't know, then you can assume that if you know it had the wall at the time Yeshua bin Nun, you don't know if they built the wall fast or not, then you can assume they built the wall before settling it.
That they had an intent to build a wall.
That's right.
That's interesting.
Let's continue with this pace. So which cities nowadays? Let's talk about it in Halacha without going into the details in the Mishnah. Nowadays, which cities keep? Which cities? So first of all, this is Yerushalayim. Even though Yerushalayim didn't have a wall at the time of Yeshua bin Nun, right? Because of the cover of Yerushalayim, they included Yerushalayim as well. Right? So Yerushalayim reads on Tesvav. There are a number of other old cities.
Yerushalayim, or because when they did settle it, they planned to build a wall?
No, it has to be at the time of Yeshua bin Nun. It wasn't. It didn't have a wall at the time of Yeshua bin Nun. It doesn't count. Except Yerushalayim.
Yericho.
Right. So right. So the question is, which cities nowadays had a type of wall at the wall at the time of Yeshua bin Nun? It's very difficult to know. So Yerushalayim is the only place that only read on Tesvav. The number of other cities that are very old cities and may well have had a wall around them at the time of Yeshua bin Nun, so they keep both. If it's a real sofa, they keep both days, Yudalid and Tesvav.
But if you had a Jewish community in Yericho,
right,
even though Yericho was not supposed to be rebuilt,
would be a definite one. But there are images there, yeah. But all the other places keep it as a suffix.
Right.
All the other cities around it.
The only one they really keep it is Yerushalayim.
Yeah, the only ones that keep just Tesvav is Yerushalayim. But there are a number of other cities that keep Yafo, Tveria, I think Akko also too. Yeah? Number of different cities. Yeah? A number of different cities that keep Tesvav as well.
So do they keep 2 days of Purim if they have a suffix?
They keep 2. They have Megilla 4 times. Yeah, they keep 2.
And rabbinically, you're supposed to hear it 4 times in that situation? If you're in a city that is a suffix, are you expected to keep 2 full days of Purim?
I expected to. Well, if it's difficult for someone. Let's see, that's Sif Dalet. Okay. Sif Dalet is about suffix. We'll see that in a minute. Okay. Let's continue. Sif Beis. Chenak Forum Hanirim Mohem. Also, villages that are and that can see the big city. Afilu Einom Smuchim if they aren't close. Kagon Shein Bahal, for example, if they're on a hill. Oisha Smuchim Lahem Afilu Einom Nerim, or they're close, even if they can't be seen. Kagon Shein Ba'emek, for example, they're in a valley. As long as they're not further away, not further than 1 mil, further than a kilometer. And Shushan, Shushan read things the nace happened in Shushan, so therefore they read on Tesvav, even though it didn't have a wall at the time of Yeshua ben Nun. Okay, let's have a look at.
So, like, if you were in Bethlehem, you would keep it because you're so close to Yerushalayim.
In Beis Lechem. Beis Lechem I don't know, but they talk about all the different places around Yerushalayim, like that are considered part of Yerushalayim today, like Ramot and Ramat Shlomo. A number of these places keep 2 days. There's a machlokas in some of them. It's just to keep your dalet or to keep just as well, or to keep both. Okay. Zif Gimel, let's continue in the Shulchan Aruch. K'forim v'ayoris gedolos u'krachim she'eino mukofim chayim Yeshua ben Nun, koim b'yod dalet. Towns and big cities and cities that have a walled cities, but they weren't surrounded by wall at the time of Yeshua ben Nun. Read on the 14th. Okay, Siv Dalet. Krach shu sofek im hukaf b'mivnei Yeshua mlav. A city which is we're not sure if it had a wall at the time of Yeshua. Right, this is what we talked about. And I've kohen b'yud dalet u'b'tesvav. We read it on the 14th and the 15th. U'b'lei leihen. They read on both the 14th and the 15th. They make a bracha only on the 14th, but they should read on both the 14th and the 15th. Right. And let's have a look at Mishabos of Cotton Test. Shu Sofek. Tveria Tzach Likris Bob Yudala Dubitesvah. He mentions Tveria. So Tveria should read on the 14th and the 15th. Shesofik im hayom choshev kechoyma. It's unclear if the Kinneret counts as a wall or not. B'medinos elu b'krachin ha'mukofin choyma ein nistapek shema mukofin Yeshua ben Nun v'yeshem mitofin u'choykim eretz Yisrael. In Europe, he says even older cities, and one doesn't have to worry. One doesn't have to be mistapek, be in doubt if they had a wall at the time of Yeshua ben Nun, because they're much further north. We knew that they weren't settled at the time of Yeshua, the cities in Europe. As if called in Yud, and we do the mitzvah of Simcha and mitzvah of Matanos Evyonim on both days, both Yudalid and Tesvav. So we've got Yudalid Voyvarech. Shaboch afilu b'mitzvah shator humidrabanon. We don't make a bracha on the Megilla because a bracha is always a drabanon, even on a mitzvah deraisa. When we came b'dover shu sofik linin habracha is fake a drabanon. We always have this whenever we have a sofik, we never make the bracha in the case of a sofik because we have the klal sofik brachas lahaka. Because she came possession mitzvah shall devem lekula alma in sof bracha. So here definitely where it's a mitzvah drabanon, we definitely don't make a bracha in the case of sofik. The mashim varach b'yodalid. The reason why it makes a bracha on Yudalid, because the 14th is the time when most of the world read, because of the Karmi'El, that's why they make a bracha on Yudalid. Because even a city which was supposed to read on Tesvav, if they read on Yudalid, they would be Yotze B'ti Evet, seeing as that's the PURIM for most of the world, and therefore. In cities that are a sofik, they make a bracha on your dalit. Okay. Okay. Let's continue.
I'm still a little bit unclear. I understand that a decision is made that it's the first day of Purim, the 14th. You make a bracha, but do you have a rabbinic requirement to hear the Megilla 4 times in that situation? Twice without a bracha and twice with?
Yes.
You do have an obligation
to
do that in that situation. Okay.
Right. That's how it comes out. That's what the Shulchan Aruch says. That one has to Megilla all 4 times. Okay. Let's continue. Sif Hey. If someone who lives in a city went to a walled city, right, for example, someone from Karmi'El went to Yerushalayim, or someone from Yerushalayim went to a city without a wall. Right? If he intended to return to his own city, Bizman Kriya, at the time of the reading, and in the end he was delayed and didn't return, then he reads like the place where he lives, right? Place where he lives, where he came from.
Right, so if he gets stuck in Yerushalayim, he's in Nisakev and couldn't get back. Are there Kriyas?
We're going to see now. Let's talk about. Let's wait a second until we've seen all the conditions. This is a complicated halacha. As you can see, there's lots of mishnah. It's very complicated. Okay. At the end, we'll come out with very clearly what he should do in each situation. If he didn't intend to return, if he intended to remain there until after the reading time, and then he reads together with the people that that are there, right? So we can already see that this is very different to the halachas of Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius. Yom Tov Sheni Shel Golius, if you keep second day Yom Tov or not, depends on where your main place where you live is. Right? It doesn't depend where you are at the time of Yom Tov. It depends on where your place of residence is. Whereas we can see already here, we're going to see the exact details of exactly how to define it, but here it depends more or less on where you are on Purim. Right? Exactly what time of Purim and where you intend it to be, that we're going to see. But here it depends on where you are at the time of Purim. If he's not in a city, he's in a place of a place that's not inhabited, he reads on the 14th, like the rest of the world. Okay? Fine. Let's have a look now at the Mishnah. Okay.
Did we say? I'm sorry. Did we say that the mitzvah is to read the Megillah, to hear the Megillah?
The mitzvah is to read the Megillah, but when you hear the Megillah, you're yotze through Shomei Ka'ina. The same. Right. If you hear it, it's as if you.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And if you can't hear it, then you should read it. If there's no Kriya, you should read it from a sefer. From a.
There's only yotze for one to read it from a klaf.
No, he was talking about if there's no Kriya.
Well, we saw before. We were talking about Parsha Zochar, that if he hasn't got any.
Oh, that was Parsha Zochar.
It could be in Megillah as well, but he's not used to the mitzvah. Maybe it's better than nothing. But to be used to the mitzvah.
Deaf person comes to the Knesset.
So he should read it. He has to read it himself. He has to learn how to read it himself. He can't be yotze if he can't hear. If he can hear, he can hear. If he can't hear, then the only way he can be yotze is by saying himself.
Is
that called hearing?
No.
I don't think it's called hearing. No.
It isn't called hearing.
Read could be the same.
Yeah, it's Shomei Ka'ina, not Mavin Ka'ina.
If he can't hear and he can't read it himself, then he's honest. He's there's nothing he can do about it. I mean, if he's been deaf from birth, he's not going to be able to learn it because he doesn't know how to read. He can't. Someone who's never heard words, he doesn't know how to say words, so he won't probably be mute as well if he's deaf from birth. But if he became deaf later in life and he knows how to talk, then he'd have to read it himself. Okay, let's have a look at the Mishnah Berurah of Kofen Yud Beis. Okay, the top line on page 34. Right. Sif Zeh Hu Loshan HaRambam. The words of this if are taken from the Rambam. I'm going to have to, because it's a difficult sif, I'm going to expand slightly, explain. He's going to explain it now. We have to know three things. Aleph. If he lives in an open city without a wall, even for one day he's there in that unwalled city, he follows the halachas of this unwalled city. The Koyab Yodali reads on the 14th. And if he lives in Yerushalayim, even just for one day, he's called part of that city, and he reads on the 15th. Right? That's the first halacha we said, which is in contrary to the halachas of the second day of Yom Tov. Here it goes. Here, even in one day, he gets called. He's part of that city. Okay, that's the first.
Is he defining lived? As
being there, being in that city.
There.
Yeah, just being there. Not
sojourning.
Yeah, just being in that city for one day, that way to get the calls in part of that city. Right? That's klal number one. We're going to see all the klal, see all the details, and then if there's anything I could discuss. See, klal base, right? So base. Next rule we have to know. Zman kriya hu ha'ikar ba'yoyim. The main reading, there's a reading by night and a reading by day. The main reading is the day reading. V'kivin shehoyo ba'orei ha'prozos ba'ascholas hayoyim. So therefore, the main reading, the day reading is going to be the one that's kover, the one that's going to fix the halacha. So if he was in an open, unwalled city at the beginning of the day of the 14th, not the night, the beginning of the day, then he reads on the 14th. Similarly, for Tesvav, if he was in a walled city at the time of Tesvav, the beginning of the day of Tesvav, then he will read like Tesvav. Now the third rule, Gimel. Zman kriya shekoyz v'macha b'hainu zman kriya samokoim shehu boi ato v'loi zman shiyoto misham. And the reading time that the Mechaber writes about is the reading time of the place he's in now and not the place that he left from. Okay, that's the third rule. Now let's see. Now we have the rules. Now he's going to explain to us the seif. And what we see now fits into halacha l'maisa.
When he says Zman, is he talking about like Eastern Standard Time?
No. He's talking about Yudalet Tesvav.
Oh, the Zman.
He's saying the Shulchan Aruch said if you're at the time, the Shulchan Aruch said halacha depending on where you are at the reading time. Well, the question is, what's the reading time? There's two reading times. There's the reading time of the place you came from, the reading time of the place you're in now. So he's saying the reading time is referring to the time of the place that you're in now. Right, he's now going to piece it all together. Now we're going to put the puzzle together and we're going to see what comes out. Okay, that's what the verse I said. Okay. Ben Ish olach v'krach. Okay. Someone from Karmi'El went to Yerushalayim. Okay. Im hoyo dato be'esin si oso ilachzol im koimo bizman kriya. Rotzo loymar bizman kriya shel tesvov. Okay. Again, bizman kriya. Right, when the Shulchan Aruch says Zman Kriya, he's referring to the Zman Kriya of the place he's in now. So he's from Karmi'El, he's gone to Yerushalayim. So where's he now? In Yerushalayim. Right? So when the Shulchan Aruch says it depends if he intends to return to his city at the time of the reading time, that's not referring to the reading time of Karmi'El, which is the 14th. It's referring to the reading time in Yerushalayim. Meaning if he's intending to return to Karmi'El before the reading time to begin in Yerushalayim, meaning before the morning of Tesvav, okay, let's continue. Dahainu, Baboiker, Shel, Tesvav. Have I jumped a few lines? 1 second. Dahainu, Misheheyu Hayoim, right? Which means when at daybreak of the 15th, Lo Yehiyeh, the daybreak of the 15th he won't be there. Ki Yachlo Misham Kodem Arayim, he's going to return to Karmi'El before daybreak of the 15th. After the Basoy V'roya Shu Muchach V'Lesakiv Shal. Even if at the end he gets delayed and he remains on the 15th, he's not called a Yerushalmi. He's still a Karmi'eli, and he reads on the 14th when he's in Yerushalayim. Okay, this is the first halacha we see. Again, he goes from Karmi'El to Yerushalayim. He intends to be in Yerushalayim for the 14th, but returns sometime in the night of the 15th. So he's going to leave Yerushalayim before daybreak of the 15th. So he has a din, he's not called a Yerushalmi. And he's called a Karmi'Eli, he has to read on the 14th. So even though he's in Yerushalayim on the 14th, he has to find a minion in Yerushalayim on the 14th and read on the 14th.
So, but if nobody is reading in that town, he reads himself.
Right, but that's correct. If no one's reading in the town, he reads himself. It so happens that there are 1 or 2 million in Yerushalayim on the 14th.
Which makes sense because he won't be able to read in Karmi'El. They've already read.
Right. So he's going to miss it in Karmi'El. Yeah. So he's have to read on the 14th, either by himself in Yerushalayim, or find a minion there, or go outside Yerushalayim on the 14th for the meeting, Megilla reading to find a.
Of course, right.
But you'd have to read on the 14th. Right, that's the first halach. Right, let's continue now. Second halacha. Ava. Im beis nesios lo yoy bedat lachzor min hakach. If his intention was to remain in Yerushalayim until the morning of the 15th, he was intending to return to Karmi'El in the morning of the 15th, after it's already the reading time in Yerushalayim. Then he's called Yerushalmi, and he reads on the 15th. Right? That's the other side of the first halacha. Right? If he's intending to return before daybreak of the 15th, he's called a Karmi'El. If he's intending to return after daybreak of the 15th, he's called a Yerushalmi. Right? That's the halacha. So even if, right, he returned to his city on the 15th, he has to read there. He returned to the city before he heard Megilla reading. He has to read wherever he back in Karmi'El. Returned to Karmi'El on the 15th before hearing the Megilla reading in Yerushalayim. Right? He returns here. Let's say someone from Karmi'El traveled to Yerushalayim, intending to return on the 15th and first bus just after daybreak. He thinks, oh, I'm in Karmi'El, I'm going to hear on the 14th. He heard in Yerushalayim on the 14th. He comes back to Karmi'El. He speaks to, asks you what to do. Right? He says, I hear you just learned Hilchos Megillah. What should I do? Did I do the right thing? You say, no, you didn't do the right thing. You intended to return to Karmi'El on the 15th. That means that you have the din of Yerushalmi, and you heard Megillah on the 14th. Oh, it's a different halacha because we saw that B'diavad could be his yates if he had on the 14th. So let's say he didn't hit. It's easier for let's just make it simple. He didn't hit Megillah at all on the 14th. We'll discuss B'diavad if he had Megillah on the 14th. We'll discuss that later. Let's say he didn't hit Megillah at all. He asked you what to do. So you tell him he has to read it again. Now here in Karmi'El on the 15th. Okay. Let's continue. Yeah. The Mishnah says, he didn't hear on the 15th before he left. Okay, let's continue. Now we're going to explain the second part of the sif. Someone from the other way around. Yerushalmi, someone from Yerushalayim went to Karmi'El. Someone from Yerushalayim came to visit Karmi'El.
Before we go the other way, when he comes back to Karmi'El, he's really reading in Karmi'El as a Yerushalmi.
If he comes back to, if he intended to be in, if he intended to be in Yerushalayim and was in Yerushalayim on the morning of the 15th,
right,
and then he came back to Karmi'El before hearing the reading in Yerushalayim, he has to hear.
He has to read it here or hear it here as a Yerushalayim.
Correct. On the 15th. Correct. Okay. So now other way around. Someone from Yerushalayim is traveling to Karmi'El. If he intended at the time when he travelled to return to his city. Bisman Kriya. Dahainu. What does it mean Bisman Kriya? It doesn't mean he's intending to return to Yerushalayim before the reading on the 15th. Remember, Zman Kriya, we said, goes by the place he is in now. So here it's referring to the morning of the 14th. So if he's intending to return to Yerushalayim before the morning of the 14th of Adar, right? That means he's going to go back on the night of the 14th. Before daybreak on the 14th. So who's Man Kriya? At the end he got delayed, and in the end he was there on the 14th. He reads it on the 15th, meaning everyone in Karmi'El is reading Megillah on the 14th. He doesn't have to listen. He intended to return at night. He got delayed. He missed the bus, missed the train. He doesn't have to hear it on the 14th. He hears it on the 15th. On the 15th. However, if he didn't intend to remain there, he didn't intend to return, he intended to be there on the he intended to be there on the 14th in the morning. He intended to be there on the 14th in the morning. Then he has a din of a Karmi'El. He has to hear it on the 14th. That's what the Mechaber says. He reads it together with the people that he's there. Okay. Even if he returned on the 14th, he returned back to Yerushalayim on the 14th. He was in the Karmi'El at daybreak on the 14th, and he intended to be there. He was there as he intended to. And then he returned later on the 14th to Yerushalayim. without hearing the Megillah. He has to read in Yerushalayim on the 14th. He has a din of Karmi'El. The Chosva Taz, the Koze Dafke Im Hoyo, Shom Be'ir B'tchilas Hayoim. Aval Mchoza Limkoimo Shu Krach, Koidam Hayoim, Lo Yimoyel Masha Choshav Metchilo, Liyois Bo'ir Be'ez Kriyas Ha'ir. If, however, he intended to be there at the beginning of the day, and then he changed his mind and left early, then that doesn't help, right? He has to be that he's actually there. Okay? Fine. That's we hit exactly 22. And that's halacha. There are cholkim on the Mishnah, but the Chazon Ish has a slightly different opinion. But let's not confuse things. Let's go according to the Mishnah, right? We've got a very clear mahalach exactly what to do, right?
Bottom line is be clear where you want to be, make sure you're there, and don't miss your bus.
No, it's I wouldn't summarize it like that. It's nothing wrong with it. So if you miss your bus, there's very clear halachas what to do with the person who misses the bus as well, right? This is bus is absolutely okay. It's clear what he has to do in all cases, right?
What is unclear, and I guess we'll come to it later, is there are other mitzvahs of Purim that have to happen after Chatzos.
Right.
So, let's say you find yourself in Yerushalayim and you're leaving after daybreak.
Right.
So, and you know it. So you have time to hear it.
Right.
In Yerushalayim. Right. Now you're coming back to Karmi'El. So you get back to Karmi'El before Mincha.
So you can do the other mitzvahs. You do all the other mitzvahs. You have to do what's fixing you for the Megilla is going to fix you for all the other mitzvahs as well. If we decide that you're a Shalmi, then all the mitzvahs you do on the 15th.
But if, for instance, you would do the Suda Purim in Karmi'El on the 15th. That's when you're at that.
Correct. We said it doesn't matter where you do the mitzvah. We saw even with Megillah, it could be you have a din of Yerushalmi, but you return to Karmi'El, so you read the Megillah in Karmi'El. It doesn't matter where you do the mitzvah. Right? What we're fixing here is on what day you're chayav to do all the
actually,
mitzvahs.
my point was that there are many people who go from outside of Jerusalem. They actually have Purim on the 14th, and they come to Jerusalem on the 15th to enjoy Shushan Purim. So those people, it makes sense. The reverse is a problem. Because when you go back to Karmi'El after having heard the Megillah on the 15th in Jerusalem, right? On the 14th and the 15th, nobody is celebrating Purim in Karmi'El. Okay. You're eating Suda's mitzvah by yourself.
Okay. Live by yourself.
Which is strange. It's all for Purim.
But it's the other way around as well. Why do you say it's not the other way around? The other way around too also have that.
No, because if you do it on the 14th and you go to Jerusalem, it's also having... A full Purim is happening on the 15th in Jerusalem.
Yeah, but you're doing it on the 14th. You're going to have your Suda on the 14th.
I know, but...
And for them, they're still making their Shlach getting ready.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're busy having your
But
Suda.
if you get there on the 15th, right, you're actually having two celebrations of Purim, right?
Oh, yeah. But
on the 14th and on the 15th day, right?
Okay,
but in the reverse, if you do it on half of it on the 15th...
Right. The second one they're celebrating the 15th wouldn't be Purim for you.
Right.
Yeah. Say again? The 15th would not be Purim? No, what I'm saying is if you find yourself in Jerusalem with the intent to hear Kriya on the 15th, but then you have to leave immediately after.
Right. So as we said,
then you're going to a place that is not celebrating Purim
You bring the
when you get home.
with you.
Right, you bring the mitzvahs with you,
Yeah.